Tarot Tribe, it's Ethany, and today I want to talk about Stalker tarot cards. They're gonna get ya. So I define Stalker tarot cards as those cards that come up over and over again in a reading. They pop up in your daily drawers. They always show their faces when you do a tarot spread. And I've even found for past stalker cards with myself, they would even be cheeky enough to show up in a reading with a client. So obviously I wouldn't go like, oh, that's my stalker card in a reading. But I do mentally take note that that card has shown up again and reflect on it later on that day. So these are the cards, the messages, the symbols that simply will not leave you alone. So I wanted to share some of the ways in which you can work with these cards and get to understand them in a better way, and maybe have a way of moving forward with the energy. So as with everything that I share, take what works for you and simply leave the rest. And with that, let's jump in. I personally do pay attention, as I mentioned, to tarot cards that come up, and especially to stalker cards that come up over and over again for myself. And like many of our tarot community members, I feel they have something to share with us, a lesson for us, and something to maybe reflect back to us. For this reason, I am a massive fan of having a tarot journal and dating my readings and entries. I have a pretty good memory, but it's nice not to have to rely on that memory or to guess when those cards have come up again for me. I like the fact that I can look back and see if they've come up in a certain position, if they've come up in a certain reading, how often and when, and what the circumstances around that have been. So here are some of my offerings for what I have done with those cards when they have come up over and over again. The first one is to simply journal it out. So take the cards. To say we're gonna pick a random card here and work with it. So say we have the Queen of Swords. I do love me my Queen of Swords. So she keeps coming up over and over and over again. I would grab my journal and free flow write. I would automatic write and see what comes up. I place the card at the top of my writing space, grab my pen, put the date down, and just start writing. It's a really good way to get that analytical mind out of the way and see what's going on underneath it all. It's a really good way to connect if you do work with your guides, your ancestors, to see if they have anything they want to add. Get in touch with your helpers from the other side, have them chime in. But just giving yourself some time to write about the card and to get out of your own way and just to allow that flow is really great, because there might be some wisdom in there for you. The second thing that I like to do is to do a comparative reading. So if, like me, you have a lot of different decks, take the card that has been stalking you from a couple of different decks and lay them out in front of you and see if the other cards have different symbols or artwork that speaks to you in a different way. So is there another interpretation that sparks your intuition in a different way? Is there something that stands out in those different cards that doesn't in the one that you've been reading? Is there a meaning that you didn't see? By expanding your view of the cards, you may find some hidden knowledge. So for example, say you get the Three of Cups. Now I've got 3 different decks here. So I've got the Three of Cups from the Star Tarot. Sorry, it's a bit shiny. And like a lot of the Star Tarot artwork, it's full of rainbows, and it's got the 3 women and they're holding those cups up, and there's hummingbirds. Yep, I'm going to say hummingbirds. Sunflowers, there's the triple goddess symbol down the bottom there. There's the spirals. There's a lot of symbolism in that card. But say I wanted to do a comparative reading, so I got out the Three of Cups from my Bad Bitches Tarot. And they kind of look like they're, if in my deck, like if I was looking at that, they're kind of like looking at you like, are you going to join us? hello, are you going to come and join us? Whereas this one may seem like a celebration is already going on. And they're kind of almost in a dance, right? Like doing a dance or working together to have that celebration energy. And then I also got the Three of Cups out from the Ostara Tarot, and this is really different. You know, so like really, really a very, very different vibe from the other two. So in the Ostara Tarot, the color palette is a beautiful orange and green. She's submersed in the water. The other two are submersed in the water too. You don't see them. There's eyes being reflected out. There's frogs. So this one has a more contemplative rest aspect to it than the other two that are more like party. So it's nice to get a bit of a comparative reading and see what other energies are in the card, because you may find some different wisdom in the different art that is given to us with these amazing tarot decks out there. The next thing I like to do is to crack a book. So one of the beautiful things about the tarot is that we all have different ways, or all authors or bloggers or people who do videos have different ways of viewing and interpreting the cards, even if we are all working with the same foundation. So it can be really great when a card won't leave us alone to go to your bookshelf, grab a couple of tarot books, because we all know you have a library of them, or I'm just alone in that, but I doubt it. So grab a couple of tarot books and go to the card meaning and see if there's anything in the words from another perspective, another voice, another person that sparks your understanding or links you to something new about the card that you have not yet considered. I find this really, really empowering. This is the reason why I always love reading tarot books, because while I feel like I know I can pick up any tarot card and tell you the meaning of it. That's a part of, I feel, being a professional for me. I love reading different perspectives and adding different things to my tarot tool belt. So crack a book, grab a couple, see what people have to say, reflect on it, and see if there's something new in there for you. Next one is to look at the progression. So the tarot has a specific structure for a reason. There is meaning in the way that the suits, the major arcana, and the court were designed, and that can often be overlooked by readers. So when you are constantly pulling a card, take a look at the card that was before and after it in the structure. So when I look at the cards like this, I feel like it's the tarot telling me a story about where I've been and where I'm going and where I am. So the card before the Stalker card is where I find I am actually refusing to let go of, or I've simply not learned the lesson that is in the transition between the Stalker card and the next card in the progression as well. So, and then when I look at the card next, it's like, this is where if I'm ready to learn that lesson and let go and release and give it up, I'm going to be going at. So here's an example. Say I'm stuck in the Seven of Wands. If I look at the Seven of Wands tarot card in the structure of its progression of the suit of wands, before it we see the Six of Wands. And the lesson that I would get from that is maybe I'm holding too tightly to the success or victory that I've had. Okay, so I've had success. The Six of Wands is a card of success, a card of victory, a card of celebrating the success that you've had. And I'm holding on to that. I mean, who doesn't love to be a fucking winner? But when we look at the Seven of Wands being defensive and being protective, it totally makes sense. So I've moved now from, say for example, I've moved from that, I'm a winner, baby, and then we've moved into this, I'm now defending my own and I'm protecting and pushing people away because I may be worried about losing my success or what I deem to be mine. You know, that can totally happen. And then if you look at the Eight of Wands, which is the next card in the progression, I see that I literally need to let it go and allow flow and action in my life and to move forward. The Seven of Wands has literally got me stuck. And so this is one of my favorite ways of exploring the tarot, and I love using this with Stalker cards. I talk about the importance of progression in the tarot and structure in a blog post and video a long time ago. It is the 6 ways to read a tarot card video if you want to go searching for it. But I also have it in the blog post over at ethany.com for you if you want to check that one out as well. But don't overlook the progression. It's a really, really great way to move forward on that one. The next offering I have for you is to get a professional reading. So this could literally be your higher self telling you need to get an outsider's perspective, to get a professional perspective, get out of your own way, and especially if the Stalker card in question is potentially something shifty like the moon. No offense. I love the moon card, but it can be elusive as. So when there is something that I simply can't get a good grasp on, no matter how much I've tried, I go get a reading from a trusted tarot professional, and usually someone that I've worked with before or a friend in my field. Sometimes we do need to get out of our own way and get someone to read our cards and see what comes up for them in that. And I have a little spread for you called the Why Are You So Obsessed With Me spread. And it's a quick way for you to get some clarification on your Stalker card. I have the layout of that over at ethany.com as well, but I'll quickly talk through it. I'm not going to switch cameras today, but I will quickly talk through it for you so you can use that for yourself. So this is a really wonderful way that you can get some clarification on your tarot Stalker card. So you want to take your deck and grab the card that has been stalking you and place it in the middle of the in the position A in the layout. So you're actually isolating the card that has been stalking you, and then you're going to shuffle the remainder of your tarot deck while you're focusing on the card in the middle. So use that as a nice focal point to focus your reading and to hold the intention of getting some wisdom on that card, and then lay out the rest. So you shuffle your cards however you choose to do your little shuffling ritual, cut the deck, and then you are going to lay everything out in the order that is in the spread below, the spread over at ethany.com. So the first one is why you're stuck. The second one is the action you need to take. The third one is the help you should or can seek out. And the fourth one is where you're going. So it gives you a really good holistic overview of your Stalker card and can help you kind of get out of the way of that energy and move forward. And so something else I wanted to offer up to you and to share with you all is some of the perspectives of the members of the Tarot Readers Academy Facebook group and how they view and deal with these cards. So I have a few member responses, and the rest of them are over at the Tarot Readers Academy Facebook group, and you can always come and join and share your views on it and join this amazing community. So Nefa said she loves the Stalker cards. She keeps a tarot journal and separate sheets that list repeating cards. That's a really interesting idea, especially for those of you who like to bullet journal as well. So she takes a look at that sheet every 2 weeks or so. So I don't write in my journal consistently, and I try to figure out what those repeating cards are trying to tell me. Most of the time the message is about something I've overlooked. So I really loved that perspective of keeping a separate sheet for cards that are constantly repeating, and if there's something that has been overlooked. Christina said, I think Stalker cards are themes that cannot be ignored. For example, I've had 9s appear, especially the 9 of Swords and the Hangman. Also, it's not only the cards that I draw, I'm also taking into account cards from Taroscopes and even from live chats or general daily cards from groups. So Christina is talking about seeing threads from not only your own perspective in your own readings, but if you are a part of groups or you do draws, that you see that other people are drawing the same card. And that's a really interesting way to kind of put your tarot world blinkers on and see what everybody else is drawing as well. So Katie said, I have to think it's the universe's way of yelling at me to listen. I keep getting the same messages, so clearly I'm not a very good listener. So sometimes the universe kind of has to keep trying to get your attention, and I really feel like that was what Katie was trying to say there. Sometimes it's good to listen to the universe while it's whispering rather than yelling, but I totally get what she's saying there. Anupama said, a burning issue that needs to be addressed is what I feel stalker cards are before anything else. A message that you are neglecting or overlooking, something that you are in denial of. I've seen and using some spreads for stalker cards, so that you would use something like that. And finally, Joshua said, I think that there is something like a hidden theme or a connecting arc to the events in your life. So I usually take some time to really study and contemplate that card and look at my life and the lives of those who are connected to me directly to see what sort of action can be taken to address it. Sometimes, and I swear this happens, if I specifically mention that a certain card has been giving me issues, when it comes to understanding it, it'll show up everywhere until I get a better understanding. So I really enjoy what Joshua was saying about looking at the arc that is connecting the theme or connecting arc in your life and what's going on there. So that was a really lovely perspective. So, my lovely peeps, did I miss anything? How do you deal with tarot cards that come up over and over again in your readings? Do you feel they have something special to offer you? And how do you work with the cards that just won't leave you alone? Let me know in the comments below. Come and check out the tarot spread. I'd love to see if you use it. And as always, thank you so much for watching.